You're watching NTC News, DeKalb County's only television news source, on the campus of Northern Illinois University and from the Northern Television Center. This is NTC News Tonight.
Tonight, the city of DeKalb takes aim at bad landlords. Good evening. I'm Fiorela Kola. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Mike Lewis. The city wants landlords to keep a closer eye on the property and the tenants they rent to. Mayor Chris Polson and property owners are locking horns over apartment regulations.
Residents like these NIU students just want to live in their apartment without any problems. They continue to lock their door, but were robbed last week. A PlayStation gaming system, an iPod, and a backpack were stolen. DeKalb police investigated and dusted for prints. The tenants are bothered and want changes.
I'm assuming that it's probably somebody in this apartment complex. I don't know. It could have been some random person walking by. Like, our apartment building is different than most apartment buildings. Most apartment buildings, you need to get like buzzed into the hallway in order, you know what I mean? Like, in order to get into the apartment building. Like, these ones, it's just like you can walk in off the street and turn our doorknob and see if it's unlocked. So it's a little less secure than most places.
City Council has addressed poor land and housing conditions by making an ordinance. Landlords oppose the ideas of licensing and inspections because the city would control their business. Regular government inspections would monitor code violations in order to remove problematic tenants. Although the city government has recognized the problem, others disagree.
The one things that we don't agree on is how to enforce the quality end of it. The city feels that they need to have inspections on the units, and we feel that they have that authority right now to have inspections on the units. We felt it would be best to educate the tenant living in there. You know, if you want an inspection, just ask for it. The city will come out and do it for you.
Many NIU residents live in these run-down fraternities, houses, and apartments that aren't always well taken care of. A drive-by shooting last week occurred from an apartment balcony near Greek Row. Another shooting involving NIU football player Devon Butler happened early last year. The city is concerned that violence is growing, and it wants to begin licensing and inspections. The mayor, for one, is starting to talk tough.
If you're behaving in a way that's not conducive or positive in this community, we don't want you here. Go somewhere else. Go out and live in the country.
If you do plan on staying in the DeKalb area, look out for some changes. If these laws pass, walking around in your yard may not feel as dangerous. The City Council will be voting on some important regulations early next month.
Nice job, Mike. NIU students say the university's new $8 million residence hall is impressive, but many are having a hard time trying to cover the bill. A kitchenette area, matching washer and dryer, and a flat-screen TV in the living room makes up the commons area for this floor in the new residence hall east. If the single rooms didn't win these students over, it was the high-tech door lock system in each cluster. But NIU students living in the still unnamed residence hall might have a hard time paying for room and board this year. At $6,500 a semester, financial aid for many students is the only way to cut costs.
I didn't get too many this year, but I want to get more as the years goes on because I think it'll make it a lot easier. And then other than that, I knew I had to get loans because we didn't really have any money saved up anyway.
The new residence hall is the first new hall built at NIU in 44 years. The building has a food court, dining hall, wireless gaming area, and a recreational facility for residents only.
The city of DeKalb is looking for a different way to handle water bills. They're proposing changes that will give residents steeper penalties for missed payments. Under the plan, the city will be reducing the number of notices before water is shut down from 3 to 2, which also cuts the billing process down from 5 months. Public Works hope the changes will make water billing easier.
It's one of the steps in order to get us to bi-monthly billing. Currently we're on a quarterly billing process. I think overall it would be better for the residents if we went with bi-monthly billing. And so one of the things that we have to do is streamline some of the things that we're currently doing.
The City Council will vote on the proposal at its next meeting.
DeKalb's Muslim population is getting larger and going through some serious growing pains. This is the house the Islamic Association is currently in. They're in the process of turning it into a new and bigger mosque. The new mosque is needed for the growing Muslim population of almost 700 people. But despite steps forward, they are still facing major disadvantages. The new mosque is not big enough to hold the entire congregation. So to accommodate the growing Muslim population, prayer services are held in the student center.
I would like to go to the mosque because it feels different over there, because it feels like our own place and it's much more better than praying in a room.
The Islamic Society is still very excited for their new mosque and will be converting the old one into a residential home.
The high price of copper may have led to another theft in DeKalb. Over the Labor Day weekend, copper wire and tools were stolen from a ComEd substation 2 miles south of Interstate 88. Crime Stoppers is offering a $1,000 reward for any information on the theft. If you have any information, you are urged to call 815-895-3272.
A high school student sues a teacher for sexual abuse.
And the Chicago Symphony Orchestra goes on strike. These are today's State Lines.
A student who was sexually abused by a former music teacher at West Aurora High School is suing the district, the teacher, and the superintendent. The lawsuit claims the school failed to report a pattern of abuse. Stephen Orland is serving a 12-year prison sentence.
An Illinois appellate court has ruled in favor of 2 pharmacists refusing to provide emergency contraception because of their religious beliefs. Then Governor Rod Blagojevich issued an executive order in 2005 requiring all pharmacists to fill prescriptions for the so-called morning after pill. The pharmacists sued.
Chicago Symphony Orchestra musicians are on strike after their union rejected the latest contract proposal. Saturday night's concert was canceled less than 2 hours before it started because of the strike. It's the first CSO walkout since 1991.
Rock Valley College says it's using a $750,000 federal grant to buy a robotic assembly line to better prepare students for a high-tech manufacturing job. The community college in Rockford will use the equipment to teach students how to troubleshoot problems that occur with the sophisticated machines. And those are today's State Lines.
You know, it's been a bit chilly this past weekend in DeKalb.
It certainly has. I had to put on my jacket a few times.
And I had to bring out my scarf. Nicole Gill is here with us. And Nicole, sorry about that. Can you tell us what the week looks like?
Well, guys, honestly, for the rest of the week, it does look like temperatures are going to be below average, so it will be a little bit chilly like how it was this weekend. But, tomorrow, high is looking pretty nice, above average, so definitely get out and enjoy it. Like, I'll show you guys on our map. The high across the area is going to be in the upper 70s, Moline hitting near 80 degrees, feeling nice out there, some slight rain in the south, but DeKalb's going to sit at a high of 77 degrees. For more on your chilly forecast, stick with us. We'll be right back.
Oh, sweetheart. Gonna give you a hand?
No thanks, Dad. I got it.
Okay. I'm gonna go fix the lamp in your room.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Today's high sat around 70 degrees. It felt really good, but when you woke up this morning, it was a little bit chilly out there. We hit a low of 37 degrees overnight, but tomorrow's looking nice, but yeah, I'll tell you more about that in a minute. I'm looking at radar, nothing in our area. It's going to be clear for the rest of the week. Going to give you that little hint now. It's going to be pretty nice, but we have this cold front that's going to start moving through our area by tomorrow night. Definitely by Wednesday, it's going to push through our area, bringing us some chillier temperatures. Now tonight, mostly clear skies, low 49 degrees. Tomorrow is what you really need to enjoy. High of 78. It's going to be pretty nice out there, beautiful. Definitely go enjoy it. Mostly sunny skies. Hey, I can't complain about that. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy skies, low of 51, so not as chilly. Winds are going to be pretty calm coming out of the north. Now, looking at our 5-day, there's that sunny forecast across the board, but as you look at those temperatures are going to start to decline by Thursday, going into the weekend where temperatures are going to hover around the upper 60s, low 70s. So definitely sunny outside, going to be nice, but a little bit chilly. That's all for weather. Let's send it back to the desk.
Thanks, Nicole.
A peace conference isn't stopping the violence in Syria.
And Trader Joe's is pulling peanut butter from their shelves. Here's what's happening in today's World Watch.
In Syria, the violence continues. At least one person was killed when an explosive device went off Sunday evening in the heart of the Syrian capital of Damascus. The blast happened while the Syrian opposition is currently holding a conference on rescuing Syria. It also came as part of the ongoing violence that has spread to most of Syria over the past 19 months since the breakout of the crisis.
Trader Joe's grocery store chain is recalling its house brand peanut butter. It's been linked to 29 salmonella illnesses in 18 states. The FDA is investigating whether any other items sold to the store could be contaminated. More than 3/4 of those who became ill were children under the age of 18. No deaths have been reported.
Help could soon be on the way for stay-at-home parents being denied credit cards because they don't have their own income. Right now, the law requires credit card companies to look at individual income instead of household income when making lending decisions. That means a lot of stay-at-home parents have a hard time getting their own credit cards, even if they have a perfect credit. Congress is expected to consider a new rule later this fall.
Apple says it sold more than 5 million iPhone S's since the device hit stores last Friday. That beat the old sales record of 4 million iPhone 4Ss sold during last year's first weekend. Despite the iPhone frenzy, investors viewed the opening weekend as somewhat of a disappointment. Wall Street had predicted the sales figure to be closer to 6 million. And that's today's World Watch. Boy, your revenge sure is sweet.
It sure is. That's right. It's time for sports with Eli Gehn. Eli, tell us what happened this weekend.
Well, the NIU Huskies hosted the Kansas Jayhawks this Saturday afternoon. Now, if you guys remember last year, the Huskies traveled to Lawrence to take on the Jayhawks, and Kansas ended up scoring a touchdown in its final seconds to win that game 45-42. So on Saturday, NIU looking for their 17th straight home win against the Jayhawks. 2 minutes left in the first quarter. The Huskies trailing by 3 when Jordan Lynch rolls to the right and finds Tommy Lee Lewis in the end zone for 4 yards. Sims would miss the extra point. NIU up 6-3. And then James Sims of Kansas, he had a good game on the ground. He takes this one off the left tackle and gets across the goal line for a 26-yard TD. He wouldn't be done. We'll see him in a little bit. Under 2 minutes in the second, Akeem Daniels takes it right up the middle, capping off a 10-play, 77-yard drive for the Huskies. NIU led 13-10 at half. First drive of the second half, Kansas drove the length of the field when Sims went in for his second TD on the afternoon. He finished with 91 yards and 2 scores. Now, in the fourth, after Lynch threw a pick six, putting the Huskies down by 10 early on, he pulls a Tim Tebow here, jumps and throws it over the line. Martell Moore is going to take care of the rest, goes 65 yards to the end zone to pull him within 3. Now the game tied at 23 with about 5 minutes left. Leighton Settle gives NIU the lead for good as the Huskies score 17 unanswered points in the fourth to take it 30-23. And so the pitch where the NIU women's and men's soccer teams took the field this past weekend. The Lady Huskies opened up MAC play against Eastern Michigan on Friday. Last week's MAC Player of the Week, Corey Frankenberg, had a game-high 7 shots on goal in a losing effort as NIU fell 1-0. And Central Michigan, they also paid a visit to DeKalb on yesterday afternoon. That game ended in a scoreless tie, and it puts NIU at a 4-4-1 record this season. The Huskies will hit the road this weekend to continue MAC play against Akron and Buffalo. And also the men's team, they took the field as well. They went 0-2 at the New Mexico TLC Nike Invitational. The Huskies in the first game erased a 2-goal deficit against Denver to send it to OT, but would fall in the second overtime period 3-2. 2 days later, the 5th-ranked Lobos of New Mexico shut out NIU 3-0. Goalie Jordan Godsey struggled in the 2 games, allowing 6 goals on 18 shots. Those 2 losses send the Huskies to 1-5-2 this year. They will open up MAC play on Saturday against Florida Atlantic. And switching back to the football field, this time for high school, where the DeKalb Barbs hosted Streator on Friday night. And it was homecoming night for the Barbs, who were coming off a 38-17 loss to Ottawa last weekend. Both DeKalb and Streator came in with an 0-4 record, so someone is walking out with their first win of the season, and from start to finish, it was the Barbs who dominated throughout. Quarterback Jack Sauter, he looked like Mike Vick out there, and hey, he even represents the same number 7. He had 3 first-half rushing touchdowns, and Streator, they just couldn't even get anything going on offense. Here in the second quarter, the Streator quarterback, he's at the 15-yard line running for his life. He actually ran back to his own end zone. Defensive lineman Jonathan Bell and the Streator cheerleaders, you know, it's not even nothing to cheer about. I don't blame them. The Barbs led 35-0 at half and went on to win by a final of 49-6. And in sports notes today, the Cubs, White Sox, and Bears all took the field yesterday looking to pull off wins for their respective teams. The Cubs hosted the Cards, who are in a race for a wild card spot as the season winds down. Cubs starting pitcher Justin Germano gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 innings as the Cardinals get the win 6-3 to stay in the hunt. Sox took on the Angels, trying to stay on top of the AL Central. Angels put up a 4 spot in the bottom of the 6th and never looked back, getting the win 4-1. Chicago does, however, remain 1 game ahead of the Detroit Tigers for the AL Central, and the Bears got back to their winning ways against the Rams after being pummeled by the Green Bay in Week 2. The Bears defense sacked Sam Bradford 6 times on the afternoon, and this pick by Major Wright, deflected by Tim Jennings in the 4th, shut the door on St. Louis as Chicago cruised to a 23-6 win, improving their record to 2-1 on the year. And before we wrap up today's sports, we get to today's play of the day. We're staying on the gridiron where the Titans were taking on the Lions in Nashville. Detroit, we're going to pick it up in the 4th quarter, 7 seconds left. Detroit trailing by 7 when backup quarterback Sean Hill is going to go for the do-or-die jump ball. It's going to get batted by the defensive player, ends up in the hands of Lions receiver Titus Young. An extra point was good to take the game into OT, but the Titans would get away with the victory 44-41, while Young gets the victory for our play of the day. And also, guys, the NIU volleyball team ended a 14-game road trip this past weekend. The Huskies split their matches against MAC opponents. They will be home for 3 straight matches this coming weekend, so it's got to feel good for those girls to actually get back and play in DeKalb.
Sure does. Thanks, Eli. Coming up. Oh, can I go? Okay, coming up. How many children does it take to move a jumbo jetliner? We'll tell you when we get back. Stay with us.
I'm in the Honors program here at NIU. The Honors House is a place where honors students can live together. I lived in the Honors House as a freshman, so I got to meet people right off the bat. I was with students who are in the same kinds of classes as me. So living in the Honors House just meant I had that group to start off with. Living with other honors students made all the difference in my experience, so why go anywhere else?
Northern Illinois University. Learning today.
Leading tomorrow.
Give someone enough rope, as they say, and sometimes, well, in Japan, they're using it to play tug of war with a commercial jet. That's right, nearly 300 children and their parents managed to move this Boeing 787 at an airport in Tokyo. They used a series of ropes tied to the jet's airframe. The Man vs. Machine Tug of War is an annual event intended to boost public interest in aviation.
Wow, that is impressive. Those are some strong kids.
Yes, they are. I prefer flying in planes, though.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Well, that's all for us here at NTC. Thanks for tuning in.
Be sure to join us here at the same time on Wednesday.
Have a good night.